Hello my dear friends, welcome back to Top Listen for You. Friends, we are discussing about the structure of the muscle, of skeletal muscle or cardiac muscle, right? Smooth muscles will be discussed in a separate lecture. First of all, I had told you about the muscle, that what is a muscle, right? In our first lecture was the introduction about the muscle, right? Then our second lecture was about the components, microscopic components and macroscopic components of the muscle, and then our third lecture was about the structure of skeletal muscle. Now in the structure of skeletal muscle, I had discussed about the arrangement of the fibers, right? And then I had told you that I will discuss about the smallest functional unit of the muscle, of the skeletal muscle or cardiac muscle, which is called the sarcomere. So now in this lecture I am going to discuss about the structure of the sarcomere, what are the proteins and what are the arrangements of those proteins inside the one sarcomere. So let me repeat a little bit my previous lecture to correlate it with this lecture. Look carefully. In the previous lecture I had told you that if here we have a bone, right? If this is a bone and to this bone there is an attachment of a muscle, for example this is the tendon, and here we have our muscle attached to this tendon, right? So it will be like this. Okay, now this is our skeletal muscle. Now look carefully what I had done. I had made a section here, right? I had made a section here and then we took the muscle and showed you like this. So inside of the muscle was seen in the previous lecture. Once again let me repeat it fastly, the previous lecture. So if we take this muscle and make it like this, so superior view, inside view, it will look like this, right? So this is our muscle, right? Now above the muscle there was I had told you a connective tissue layer, right? Is a connective tissue layer, right? And I had told you this is called epimysium, right? And then this is our previous lecture, friends. Then inside the muscle itself were the muscle fascicles, right? What were there? There were the muscle fascicles, and we had taken this one fascicle out and we had seen its structure also. So this is our one fascicle. I have taken it out. Now around this one fascicle there was another connective tissue layer surrounding it, which was protective in nature, right? And this one connective tissue around the muscle fascicle, this was called the perimysium, right? This is our perimysium. Okay, so the muscle is composed of millions of these fascicles. This is one fascicle. This is our previous lecture, friends. This is one fascicle. Now inside this fascicle there are lots of muscle fibers, right? If we take one fiber out, this is our muscle fiber, and above this muscle fiber there is another connective tissue layer, a protective connective tissue layer which surrounds it, right? And this is called the endomysium. So what is this? This is our muscle fiber, and this is called the endomysium. This was my previous lecture, friends, right? Inside this muscle fiber there are lots of muscle fibrils are there, right? This is muscle fibril, and if we take one muscle fibril out, we will see that it is composed of millions and trillions of actin and myosin filaments. So this is our muscle fibril. Okay, now inside this muscle fibril what are there? There are the thick and thin filaments arranged in a very beautiful manner, which I will discuss right now, right? So these are called the muscle fibers. Inside the muscle fibril there are muscle fibers, right? And these fibers are actually the thin and thick filaments which are called the actin filaments, actin and myosin filaments. And other than these actin and myosin filaments, other filaments also, which I will, if I will open this area and we will see its structure here, so you will clear about everything, right? So look carefully. Inside this muscle fibril there are lots of sections like this, right? There are lots, millions of sections like that, which I told you. Now let me remove it. There are millions and trillions of sections like this, and all these sections contain what? They contain the thick and thin filaments, arrangement of muscle fibers, the elastic fibers, right? Actin and myosin filaments like this. And one unit, this one unit is called one sarcomere, right? Like this. Now look carefully. I will take out this one section outside and I will enlarge it, and we will see that this is called one sarcomere. And sarcomere is not seen macroscopically, it is seen microscopically. It is seen with the help of microscopes. We can't see it with the help of our naked eye. And the previous lecture, as you know, I had told you that it is the microscopic part of the muscle. So what is sarcomere? The main functional unit, the main contractile unit of skeletal or cardiac muscle. This is called one sarcomere. Now let us take out this one sarcomere here and enlarge it and see inside one sarcomere. So our lecture begins right now. So let me write it here, the structure of sarcomere, right? Structure of one sarcomere. Let us draw the diagram here and we will see each and everything which is present inside a sarcomere. So let me begin my lecture. First, there are, all the sarcomere itself is composed of proteins. All the sarcomere is composed of protein filaments, right? So there are some horizontal filaments present, there are some vertical filaments present, vertical proteins are arranged, right? And then there are horizontal proteins arranged here, right? So let us make our let us begin our lecture. First of all, my friends, there are, importantly, there are, we can see with the help of microscope, you will see two dark vertical lines there. What you will see? Two dark vertical lines, and these vertical lines, these are nothing but they are protein filaments, right? Remember it, these are protein filaments. One is here and one I will draw here. Look, my dear friends, carefully. This is, we are drawing the structure of one sarcomere. So these two lines which I have drawn right now here, these are called the two M lines, right? These are called M lines. Okay, let me write it here. This is M line, right? And here also M line, right? I will tell you about this M, what is meant by this M line in the last part of this lecture. Here we will see it. So these are called the two M lines. Now look carefully. What happens that in between the two M lines, in between the two M lines, there is a thick filament present there, right? What is there? There is a thick filament, protein is there. So let me make that thick filament also here. We'll make equal structural diagram, right? This is the thick filament, and this whole thick filament is composed of proteins, my dear friend, right? So let me write it here. This is our thick filament. You know, I had told you what is muscle. Muscle is the tissue which is composed of contractile filaments. So these are the contractile filaments, which is called one filament, which is called thick filament. Now look carefully. This is thick filament in between the two M lines. Now look here in the central part, there is another protein fiber, there is another protein, amino acids combine and they make a structure like this, which enters inside this thick filament. And here also I will make it like this. Look my friends carefully, this one, right? And then what happens, that this thick, this filament or this line gives branches like this, right? And here also my friends, like this, right? In between the two M lines, sorry my dear friends, these are called the Z lines. Sorry, these are called the Z lines. So in between the two Z lines, right, there is a central line which is called the M line. This is M line, right? I will tell you about the meaning of these everything in the end. So this is our M line. So one M line is present in between the two Z lines, right? And in between the two Z lines there is a thick filament, right? Thick filament, thick proteinaceous filament, which is called the thick filament, right? And this is called the M line, and M line will give off branches which will go in this manner, right? And also here, right? And then from here they will give off branches which will connect this thick filament, right? All this structure in the green color, you can see that this is for the stabilization of this thick filament, right? This whole green lines which I am drawing, all these proteins, all these amino acids are uniting to stabilize the thick filament. So they make connection with this M line also, right? So they connect there, and then they also connect here with this M line, like this, right? Z line. So these two Z lines are connected with this M line through these M line proteins, and this thick filament is stabilized by this M line all proteins. Clear friends? Now what happens next? I will write the proteins of these M lines also this is one sarcomere. I haven't completed the structure. Listen, what is sarcomere? Sarcomere is the functional unit of the skeletal or cardiac muscle which is present in between the two Z lines. The functional unit of muscle which is present in between the two Z lines is called one sarcomere, right friends? So Z line in between the two Z lines, thick filament is stabilized by this M line, and you saw all those branches of the M line. Now look, we will consider here as another sarcomere, and here is an other sarcomere. So there will be the thick filament of that sarcomere, isn't it? Here is the thick filament of that other sarcomere, right? And here will be the thick filament of that other sarcomere which is present on the left side, right? So here will be other Z line, there will be other Z line, right? And here will be another M line coming, right? Here will be other M line coming from that sarcomere, and it will give branches to connect here, and it will give branch to connect here. So in the books you will see this structure, right? And here also M line is connecting, and here also M line is connecting. So you can see that the central sarcomere is connected to the two lateral sarcomeres through this M line of those sarcomeres, right? From those sarcomeres M lines come and connect with these Z lines, and here you will see right, you will know that the Z line of that sarcomere, right, is connected through all these. So all the millions of sarcomeres are connected with each other through these proteins, through these M line proteins, right my friends? Okay, now this thick, this is our whole thick filament. Okay, let me shade it like this. So these are containing protein filaments, and all these proteins are contractile in nature. They contain myomycin friends, proteins, my friends, like this, right? So all these are your thick filaments. I hope you are understanding me. So these are the thick filaments. Okay, now look carefully, listen to me friends. In between the two what we will see that, look, if I will take this area up, the area of the thick filament, right, the area which is taken by thick filament in this sarcomere, and this area is called the A band, right, the area which is taken by the thick filament. This, if you go up, this is called the A band, and what is meant by A, I will tell you later, right. So this is our A band. Here is another A band, here is another A band, and all the A bands are present and are supported with each other, right. So what is A band in a sarcomere? A band is the area where the thick filament is present, right. Then what is I band or I area? Look carefully. If we take the distance between one thick filament of the thick filament of one sarcomere and the thick filament of other sarcomere, right. So if we take it up like this, and the area in between the two thick filaments of different sarcomeres, right. So this is called I band. What is this? This is I band.